How the Light Gets In is the Institute of Art and Ideas' unique festival, combining days full of talks and debates in philosophy, politics, arts and science, with evenings full of music and dance. Get your tickets for the world's largest music and philosophy festival at HowTheLightGetsIn.org.
It is true that Lenin looked with admiration on the German post office, but he did not look with admiration on German central planning, with its direction of labor, its conscription of trade unions and labor, etc. If you want to understand how that evolved in the Soviet Union, and it was not something that was a model that they imposed, you have to understand it in the context of the Civil War, the invasion of the Soviet Union by the forces that were victorious in World War I, and it was an unfortunate response to that civil war, and I think, as Isaac Deutscher pointed out, the great historian of Stalin, the journalist for The Economist here in Britain, what happened during the course of the war was that the anarcho-syndicalists turned out more popular than the Bolsheviks when you had competing parties. So parties were done away with because it was never thought by socialists that once workers had been won to socialism, they might no longer support it. And they responded disastrously by closing off freedom of expression, competing parties, etc., were criticized immediately for this, most famously by Rosa Luxemburg. This is why she's a hero of the democratic socialist left. Not only do you not have liberty when you don't have competing parties, freedom of association, what especially matters in a socialist society is workers develop, ordinary people, developing the capacities to govern. And you can't do that where you have bureaucracy closing that off.
So
yes, the crack existed in Soviet socialism. It was resolved by 1924. You're quoting from Leonard Cohen. He's thinking of this. There is a crack in everything. Let's ring the bells that still can ring. But he thinks, and I think, there was also a crack in social democracy. Let me just finish with this. What Eagleton says, it is the failure of the present in terms of redeeming our possibilities. This is what redeems the socialist vision, and the attempt by us socialists, as democratic socialists, to find a way for that not to happen again. And it is, as opposed to what we just heard, the appalling failure of neoliberal global capitalism to realize most people's potential, as we see in the way the gloss is off of it everywhere. The tragedy, of course, is that the failure of Soviet socialism, much more importantly, the way in which social democracy, the Third Way, Blairism, all the European social democratic parties embrace neoliberal globalization, leaves them now bereft in terms of speaking to their own constituency.
Get your tickets for the world's largest music and philosophy festival at HowTheLightGetsIn.org.